Hi friends, it's Dave from Southgate Imaging. So today I have a square up, I guess. This is in the low to mid end, acoustic, small body acoustic guitars. We have the Yamaha FS800 from China, probably built in Indonesia, this one I'd have to check. And we have a Simon & Patrick Concert Hall Songsmith guitar. These guitars are amazingly similar in specs. So both are solid spruce tops, laminated back and sides. In the case of the Yamaha, it's not mahogany, but it's like a NATO kind of thing. That lower end mahogany clone, I guess, laminated back and side. The Simon & Patrick is a wild cherry laminate back and side. And that's a locally sourced tone wood in Quebec where these are manufactured. They are amazingly similar. The FS800, this is an older FS800 I came across. And it's the age where they had the rosewood fingerboard, rosewood bridge. Simon & Patrick, rosewood fingerboard, rosewood bridge. This one is probably 10 years old. This one is probably 5 years old. This was played very lightly. This was played very lightly. Very similar guitars. Yamaha has the standard Yamaha tuners. The Simon & Patrick has the legacy tuners with the tuning buttons and the external tuning hardware in the back. That's really the biggest difference in the guitars, really. Stock Simon & Patrick comes with a strap button on the front. The Yamaha doesn't. But really, when you look at them, they're very similar guitars. They're really sized very similar. This is the Yamaha size, FS size, and through their lineup, the S is going to be the small body, and they're the same. The red label guitars they manufacture today, it's the same size, the concert size. The Simon & Patrick, they used to do, Godin used to do the folk guitars, and the folk was kind of a similar size, maybe a little smaller dimensions wise, but they were deeper. And they kind of changed that maybe a decade ago now, and they went to more of the a thinner body, more like a traditional triple O. So that shape's been out for a while. The old folks were very popular, and people miss them when they discontinue them because it was a very good size. It was, it was more of a double O size that had the deeper body, and it was just, a very popular size. But this is what they're putting out now. Both of these guitars are very similar. They both have relatively narrow necks. They don't have 1 3/4 inch necks, and really it's on the Yamaha, the biggest knock against the FS800 is really just it's not even a nut, it's just a string spacing. It's 10 millimeters at the saddle, and it's a little bit tight. So if you have bigger hands, it's going to be a problem. My hands aren't big, so I can play these sizes and it doesn't really bother me. But if you got monster hands, you may have a problem with these. The Simon & Patrick, traditionally, Seagull guitars, which is one of the cousins of these, always had the wide 1.8 inch necks, and a lot of people had troubles with them. Simon & Patrick typically always used the 1 11/16, I think is the size, this more of the standard smaller neck, and that's what these things are sized with. Really, they play the same. The Simon & Patrick, the spacing might be a little different, might be a touch wider, but it doesn't really, it's not, certainly not 1 3/4. So that's kind of what you got. The scale length is approximately the same. When you sit down and play them, they both play nice, extremely comfortable. So like I say, they're two very similar instruments. The big kicker is retail in Canada. That's a $300 guitar. That's an $800 guitar. Is that guitar really, is a guitar really $500 better? Being a Canadian, I hope it is. Let's sit down and play them, and then we'll come back and discuss what we think. As a Canadian, I hate to say this. My opinion, that guitar isn't worth $500 more than that guitar retail to retail. They're so similar, they sound so similar. I don't hear the difference in sound with the Simon and Patrick. Maybe your ears do. These are both strung with EJ16s, and they were just freshly set up and they're fresh strings. So, you know, that has bedded in. So, string-wise, they're identical. Construction-wise, they're so close. I mean, it's just amazing. The Canadian says, oh, the Simon and Patrick has to be better. I don't think in this case it is. I think some of the go-down stuff can be really good in that price range. You get into their cedar top guitars, they'll sound different in like say the FS800. And you know, like the old cedar folks, they sounded really good. They had a nice sound to them, and you could sit down and comfortably say, man, this is a $300 guitar. It sounds as good as a lot of $1,000 guitars. The Seagull originals that are out, which are, you know, the Dreadnought in cedar, they sound amazing. So if you like the sound of cedar, and a lot of people do, they sound really good and they play really good. In this case, side by side, you really got to have them side by side. I don't see $500 worth of difference. If they were the same price, yeah, probably the Simon Patrick maybe a little better, but not that much. So again, my opinion, your mileage may vary. Anyway, let me know what you think. As a Canadian, I'd rather say that that's the better guitar, but I don't know in this case if it is. If you own one of these guitars or both of these guitars, what's your opinion? Where do you think they stack up against each other? Anyway, it's a very interesting question. So remember to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think about these two guitars. I love owning both of them, but value-wise, I think it goes to the Yamaha. Anyway, have a great day.